What it do, everybody? Hookshot Podcast back for a record-breaking episode 10. I never thought we'd be able to get here. Episode 10. But here we are. Wow. Look at this. Thoughts? Episode 10. It's a big deal.
I'm excited, man. Episode 10 is big, man. That's a huge milestone. It's good. I mean, 100 is in the near future. I'm so excited.
It's in the near
future. Like we're gonna keep pumping these episodes out.
Damn
I mean, 10 seems like we've taken a while to get to 10 just because of how fast or how long it's taken us to incrementally grow to this point. But now we're like a machine. We're not stopping. We're just
Not stopping
from now.
I remember we used to just do the full podcast now and then when we were over at school, and we only did like 3 within a couple months. But look at that. It's been like 5 or 6 just straight.
Man, every week, bro. Every week now.
It's grind time.
Moving forward, man.
That's right. Feeling good. Making money as well. And we can just get right into it. UFC this past weekend. This past weekend. Can't speak right now. Apologies for that. But man, it was a money making weekend. I'll tell you that. What did we make money on again? A bunch of over 1.5.
Yeah, literally every bet was over 1.5. I think because it was a pretty decision heavy card. If we're being honest, there were a few entertaining decisions. We can get to those in a minute. Nah, man, the over 1.5's cashed, and we made bank. So it was a good. It was a good card.
It was a great card. The main event: Ilia Topuria versus Josh Emmett. Man, Ilia. I mean, this is a guy who could win the title. I didn't think he was so strong of a candidate to beat Alexander Volkanovski, and he proved that he's here to stay, man. This guy is real good. I think top 3 boxers in the UFC. I mean, he looked incredible. He looked like a professional boxer in there. Yeah. I mean, it was the way he kept his chin tucked. He calculated his shots. Everything he threw pretty much landed. I mean, what a performance. One of the only 10-7 rounds in UFC history. I think there's only been 4 ever. I mean, and you're one of them. Crazy. What a performance from Ilia Topuria. Just thoughts on that fight?
Yeah, man. What an incredible performance. I mean, that's the definition of outclassing somebody. I mean, 10-7 is just... That's unheard of, really, in the UFC, and Josh Emmett was just not on his level. I think he proved that, and I am just so excited for his future. And I saw a lot of buzz on Twitter afterwards talking about how were we ever considering, Ilia and Paddy, a fight between Ilia and Paddy Pimblett.
Man.
Because, I mean, looking back in, revisionist history and whatnot, but... I don't think that would be a contest.
Oh, he would have absolutely killed. So we might have seen a death inside the octagon.
Exactly, and that's to say, and this is a featherweight fighter in Ilia Topuria who is big for his division, right?
Super
he looked
big,
huge in there, and
he had a lot of fights at. I think he had a fight or two. Oh, not a lot. In his entire career, he's had a good amount of fights at lightweight, and he has fought at lightweight in the UFC as well. And I saw some people. He used to fight at bantamweight as well. I mean,
yeah, that's crazy. I just had to confirm he is only 26 years old.
Crazy, man.
The young talent in the UFC right now, it is stacking up, and I think in that featherweight division, you might have to consider a fight between Ilia and Max Holloway, even though it feels sort of that we're in this repetitive game with Max Holloway, that he's just gonna keep holding on to that number 1 contender spot and knocking on whoever or knocking out whoever's knocking on the door, of challenging for the title next. And it seems like we're gonna get another case of something like that, because we saw him beat Arnold Allen, another up and comer who was threatening to challenge for the title.
I'd love to see. I really didn't think about it, but I would love to see. I mean, I
think Ilia versus Max is just this fight with
Korean.
Almost.
Yeah, this fight with Korean Zombie shouldn't even be happening in the first place, in my opinion. I mean, Max Holloway's gonna.
TKZ is on his way.
That's a death inside the octagon right there. Max Holloway, he might kill Korean Zombie if he's doing what he did to Arnold Allen and all these other contenders. Cater Rodriguez wasn't a blowout, but he still did his thing. I mean, he's going to kill the Korean Zombie. But I think that Ilia Topuria fight is a close fight. I feel like I might still lean Holloway if he looked like he did in his Arnold Allen fight. But man, it's going to be an incredible war. I'll tell you that. I think before Ilia gets a title shot, he is ready, and I would not be mad whatsoever if he goes straight into a title shot. Not at all, because he looked that good. But I feel like a fight with Max Holloway would be real interesting, and if Holloway beats Topuria, that Holloway gets another title shot, which I feel like if he's clearing everybody out, you kind of have to give him, just like the
right. But that would be
3
insane,
times kind of crazy.
Man. That's the thing. It's like with Max, it's 3-0. It's 3-0. You can't give him a 4th fight. That's just ridiculous. But at the same time, who else is there that could possibly, contend that's why I think this fight with between Yair and Alex is so huge, because if Alex beats Yair and if he does it in a way that leaves no doubt, then it's going to be one of those conversations where Alex might be, you know, putting this featherweight behind him and looking forward to the lightweight division maybe, because this guy will have nothing else to prove. But I think if Yair is able to maybe not beat him, but make it, you know, razor thin, razor close, I think that we could see another few fights for Alex in that division to, you know, challenge him and you know, test his reign on the division.
But we can't look over Yair Rodriguez, and I'm not going to talk about it a lot because that's going to be next episode. We're going to talk a lot about that fight, a lot. Volkanovski Rodriguez. I mean, don't get me wrong, that dude Rodriguez, he has a shot. And another thing, man, Rodriguez was able to finish Emmett. Topuria didn't finish Emmett.
Yeah, and Yair looked incredible in that fight too. This featherweight division, man, it's
the upper echelon, man. Yeah, it's just insane.
And with Ilya now contending, you still got
I'd say like the top 5, but man, even guys like Evloev, the guy he
Allen's
fought,
there.
Lopez on a week's notice. A lot of exciting guys. But we'll talk more about that division next week. Let's get into this weekend's card. Sean Strickland versus Abus Magomedov. Top 3 or 5 most interesting main events.
I like it.
Interesting this year. And I see a lot of people saying, oh, they don't like it. Magomedov doesn't deserve it. Man, this guy's going to put up a good account for himself. I don't think this is going to be a Strickland blowout at all.
No, bro. When's the last time that happened, bro? When's the last time Sean Strickland had like a decisive performance? No,
like
man.
Brendan Allen, like 3 years ago, he knocked him out. Besides that, everything's closer. He gets starched. Hence the Alex Pereira fight.
Exactly.
But man, I do think Abus Magomedov is much better than people on Twitter and all these other platforms are giving him credit for. This guy's lethal. You see that in his last couple of fights, and I really think he's coming into his own now that he's in the UFC. I mean, that front kick finish was absolutely brutal. I mean, and the ground and pound afterwards, I mean, incredible. What a finish. He's going up against a guy, Sean Strickland, who does have this granite chin. Besides getting knocked out by Alex Pereira, I mean, Jerry Wars against Cannonier, Imavov, he just stands right in front of them and just doesn't get hurt. But man, I just have that weird feeling that chin finally cracks, and we were talking about this before. It did crack against Pereira, but that's Pereira. I think Magomedov really cracks this chin. Whether it's a kick, if it's a punch, whether it's, I don't know, man. But I think this is another guy who has that weird aura about him where he's just going to go in there and just start you. Yeah. Man, I've got Magomedov to finish Strickland either round 1 or round 2. But man, if Magomedov could if he doesn't finish Strickland in rounds 1 or rounds 2, it's Strickland all fucking day. And I could even see a Strickland finish. Like I think Abus might tire out after those first few rounds. But man, this guy's so dangerous in the early rounds. But don't get me wrong, man, this is still going to be a close fight. But if I had to choose, I got to go Abus getting that early finish.
Yeah, I mean, I agree with you. I'm coming into the UFC, I don't think you can make a better statement in your debut than knocking out your opponent with a front kick to the face. Like, the better performance doesn't exist. But Abus, I think, has the makings of an elite striker in the middleweight division. He's lengthy, he's rangy. He mixes it up very well. I think he uses his kicks very well. I think Sean Strickland, a lot of the times, he's not really wary of the kicks because people get, kind of caught in his trap of just, having a complete boxing fight. But I don't think that'll happen with Abus. I think he's going to push the pace in this fight, and he is going to look for a finish, whether it's on the ground or on the feet. I think we could see this go to the ground if Abus is over-aggressive and looking to get Sean out of there. But I think this is going to be a really, really intriguing matchup. I think Abus gets it done. I was saying inside the distance. Yeah, I was saying inside the distance, but I think he gets it done by finish.
I agree.
You got 5 rounds to finish him, and I think I agree with you that chin of Sean Strickland, nobody's chin is unbreakable, bro. Even Marvin Vettori was eating some shots in his last fight, right? And I think Sean Strickland, after that knockout against Alex Pereira, like, how much does he really have left in the tank? I think that's a good spot for him.
I agree. Yeah. And also just not just the fights that Strickland, the wars Strickland's been in the UFC. This guy spars like a fucking maniac.
He's insane.
Even when he's in camp.
He's fighting heavyweights and stuff outside of that.
Like no gear whatsoever. I mean, I feel like that chin's gonna crack again. And I feel like Abus Magomedov's the guy to do it. And I think Abus steps into the top 10. But again, man, this is, if Abus doesn't find that early finish, I still think there's very strong chance
Yeah,
Sean
no.
Strickland wins this fight.
Yeah,
Very strong chance.
He's very, very conservative and economical with his striking approach. He doesn't take a risk, and he's gonna find his shots and pick his moments. But I think if he takes a little too cautious of an approach, Abus can catch him with something that he doesn't see
Agreed,
coming.
man.
So yeah.
Agreed, yeah. So those are our predictions for the main event this
Yeah.
weekend. We can go over a couple other fights on this card. Damir Ismagulov, I don't know how much you know about him. He's a pretty good fighter.
No.
He lost to Arman Sarukian in his last fight.
Yeah.
He's in the co-main event against Grant Dawson. It's going to be a fun wrestling
I know
match.
Grant Dawson though.
Yeah, that's going to be a good one.
Yeah.
What else we got? Michael Morales to return, but then the one we can really talk about here is the return of Kevin Lee. This is going to be fun, man. And I don't know
Yeah.
if he's going to win. He's going up against a great wrestler in Renat Fakhretdinov, but Kevin Lee, I don't know. A very questionable fight against Diego Sanchez, and I think he blew his knee out in the fight, which is why he
Yeah.
didn't look too good.
Yeah.
But I just feel like if he fights that same way, he's going to get ran through here. And I don't think he's going to get finished early, but I think Fakhretdinov is going to win this fairly easily. How do you see, as I go grab something, how do you see the return of Kevin Lee going? Let me know.
Yeah.
Our camera shut off. Sorry about that. Back to Kevin Lee. Does he get the job done this weekend?
I don't think so, guys. I think Kevin Lee, if I'm going to put it in simple terms, I think he's washed. You know, I don't think there's a really nice way to say it. I think, and he's a guy that, you know, at his prime, at his peak, he was threatening for the title. He fought Tony Ferguson for the interim title, right? That was his highlight of his career. I would
Close
say.
fight until he got finished.
But it's too late, man. Like, no need to come back now, I don't think. And he's gonna try. And I think, you know, it's Kevin Lee. He's always gonna have the skills of an elite martial artist. But I don't think this is gonna be an impressive performance for Kevin Lee by any stretch of the imagination. I think I'd be surprised if this fight ends in a finish, and I'd be surprised if Kevin Lee won the fight. I think this is a decision win for his opponent.
Agree, man. Renat Fakhretdinov, fantastic chain wrestler, got the job done against Brian Battle in his last fight.
And Brian Battle's tough,
And
man.
Brian Battle didn't win a single minute that fight.
That was supposed to be one of those fights where, you know, Brian Battle was in a spot to, you know, help his stardom, but
Just
no, that didn't. He shut that
demolished.
shit down,
And
so.
I think he does the same thing to Kevin Lee
Yeah.
here, who's a good wrestler, unlike
Yeah.
Battle, but I think Fakhretdinov still gets it done. I think Kevin Lee puts up a fight. I don't think he gets absolutely ran through, but I think it's a somewhat dominant victory.
like Kevin Lee, the way he went out, right? Like his last few fights against D-Rod, that was not impressive. Against Diego Sanchez, that was even less impressive. He just looked awful in those two fights, and he looked like a fighter that was on his way out of the UFC, and I just think that it doesn't make a lot of sense for him to come back now. But yeah, that's just me.
All right.
We'll see. Maybe he'll prove me wrong. Who knows?
Maybe. I'd love to see him win. Don't get me wrong.
Yeah.
I mean, he just
I would
resigned
too.
with the organization, right?
Yeah, I would love to see him win. You know,
Only 30 years
get
old,
his
too,
career
man.
back
He's got
on
a lot of-
track. Yeah, he
lot
had
of
that
time.
short stint in Eagle FC with
Eagle
Habib's
FC,
organization that did not work out. So
Yeah, whatever happened to Eagle
yeah,
FC?
I don't know what that.
They
I
fell
don't
off the
know.
face of the earth.
Yeah,
Khabib ran out of money.
yeah. I
Sucks.
think he stopped running it. So
All right. Well, that's it for UFC. Next weekend, UFC 290. We have
Wait.
a lot- Oh,
Let me mention one more thing.
boy, here we
One
go.
fighter,
one fighter.
Ismael Bonfim.
Oh shit! Did we watch that one together? I
yes,
think
we
did.
watched that together. That guy. That might have been the nastiest knockout.
He's another. I'll give you guys for y'all watching this right now. I think he's like minus 250 or something like that.
He's fighting
That's a
Benoit
parlay
Saint
piece.
Denis, by the way.
Who's not that bad.
Yeah.
But I just Monfils, this guy is
The
they're
brothers.
twins.
Yeah, the brothers.
These
man.
guys are fucking nuts. Both of these guys are going to be fucking contenders, legit contenders. And I think his brother, I don't know about Ishmael, but I think his brother Gabriel could definitely be a champion in the future. I mean, that guy's so dirty. But yeah, I like Ishmael Bonfim a lot, man.
Yeah,
I agree.
That knockout that he had over Terrence McKinney, a flying knee knockout, shut his life
Incredible.
off,
Nobody's
bro.
done Terrence
It was-
McKinney like
no,
that,
it was-
man.
It was bad.
Just dominant the entire way. And usually McKinney had zero success. Usually we
Yeah.
see McKinney have success in those early rounds. Zero success in that entire fight from McKinney. Ishmael Bonfim, what a performance. And I don't know, do you know about Benoit Saint-Denis?
Yeah, a little bit. I mean, I think I saw his last fight.
He got
but,
he got like absolutely destroyed by Elizeu dos Santos.
Yeah.
Like the ref should have stopped it like 5 times. One of the worst referee calls ever. But then he's on back-to-back wins. Looked great in those fights, but he's just taking a big step up competition. I'm glad you brought that up because Ishmael Bonfim is definitely a guy to look out for.
Yeah, for sure.
Let's talk NBA real quick. Man, the NBA draft. Let's just recap that real quick.
Yeah.
We all know who's going first. Not Cam
went
Moore.
first.
Keontae George, number 1 pick in the draft. I don't know why you're
Oh,
laughing.
yeah,
He was
that
number
was
1 pick. Number 2, we had I was about to say Scoot.
Brandon
Miller, man. And I remember that video we had.
Yeah, and I was right.
You were right. I was wrong.
It was just it was tracking like that the whole time. Jonathan Givony, who's probably my most trusted draft, so that's my go-to guy for all things NBA draft. But he was saying that everything was pointing to Charlotte, going for Brandon Miller. And then at the last second, there was like Shams Charania reporting that Charlotte may be, pivoting towards Scoot Henderson as a little play to make teams a little, just keep teams on their toes. Keep the Blazers, the Rockets on their toes. But at the end of the day, they went Brandon Miller, and people didn't like the pick. For me, I like the pick, man. I think.
I do too. I don't think they could have gone wrong.
Yeah, that's the thing. Like people are like, oh, you missed out on Scoot. Brandon Miller is not. But like, who do you think Brandon Miller is going to be really good? He's going to be really good.
This dude's stone cold. Man. Yeah, I recommend you guys go watch Brandon Miller's college highlights.
Yeah,
and by the way, the only college player out of those 3 draft picks, Scoot Henderson, playing through the G League
Ignite,
to
come from college,
and Victor going through the Metropolitans in France. But man, I just, if you don't know Brandon Miller, and if you're one of those people who's talking shit about the Hornets picking him, go watch Brandon Miller Alabama highlights. This guy is a fucking killer.
He is.
I mean, a killer. It's crazy. He's going to be real good. I agree with you, and I'm not mad. I thought they were going to go with Scoot Henderson because, in a lot of people's eyes, a lot of teams' eyes as well, he was the next. He should have been the number 1 pick if Victor wasn't there. But man, I do agree. What a breakout year from Brandon Miller. Second spot, well deserved. Number 3 went Scoot Henderson again, as you predict, to the Blazers. We saw him have that workout with the Blazers before. He ended up getting drafted there. We talked about before what's going to go down with a trade. No trades really happened yet.
Yeah,
we were expecting a big, trade. Something was going to happen for the Blazers, but nope. They just went Scoot Henderson, and seems like, I don't know, they're probably going to trade Simons, is my guess, like you said, at some point.
I mean, ultimately, it's tough. It's tough to move draft picks, especially a quality draft, like the 3rd overall draft pick, Scoot Henderson. It's tough to move a pick like that and get, real value back in return and win now value at that. And I heard that they were talking to the Clippers about possibly acquiring Paul George, and that fell apart because Paul George is, aging now. He's in his, mid-30s, and you can't really risk an injury-prone PG for a generational prospect like Scoot Henderson. You can't do that if you're the Blazers. It's just tough to move on for a pick like that. So I like the pick. You made the pick, and I think out of the 2, if you're the Blazers, you probably prefer to end up with Scoot over Brandon Miller, just because I think he's shown a little bit more promise as an NBA-ready guy. So I think the Blazers got a great end result for their draft.
Definitely. So. Great result, man. I mean, who knew the Blazers were going to end up with the guy who would be the number 1 pick
like
if it wasn't
any
for
other
Victor?
Draft, I really think. And I think most people would have taken him at 2 in this one. So they got great value at that 3rd spot.
Agreed. And then we could talk about 4 and 5 real quick. The Thompson twins, we both knew it was a lock for Amen Thompson to go to the Rockets, and there wasn't really any reports on that. We just felt like it was the perfect situation for him, and we were right. But then number 5, I was right. I saw Thompson. You got your flex. I got my flex.
You were.
But your pick, Cam Whitmore. I'm not going to lie. Beforehand, I was like, maybe Whitmore's going to go 5. It's either Asar or Cam. Cam Whitmore dropped to fucking 20th.
That's crazy. It's crazy.
How did that happen?
I think that was probably one of the most, egregious or pronounced draft day slides that I've seen in a while. We've had guys like Michael Porter slide to like the 9th overall pick. Bol slid to the late first round, early second round or something like that. Yeah. But Cam Whitmore sliding all the way to 20 was ridiculous.
That's
because
insane.
I swear after pick like 12-ish with the Thunder, who took I think they traded their pick Derek Lively to the Mavericks for Kassan Wallace, but after that, it was like, okay, Toronto is going to take Whitmore, right? Okay, no, the Pelicans are going to take Whitmore,
exactly.
Right? Okay, well,
Atlanta's Lakers. This is it.
Okay,
the Lakers.
And then we get to 17, and we're like, okay, the Lakers are going to end up with Cam Whitmore, and they take Jalen Hood-Schifino, which I'm not a fan of that pick at all because you really don't need, more ball handling on that team anyways. Jalen Hood-Schifino is going to get no minutes on that team. And then you look at Miami, who I love their pick, Jaime Jaquez. The Warriors take Brandon Pajemski. And then Cam falls to the Houston Rockets at 5, who end up with picks number 5 or 4 and 20 with 2 arguable, top 5 talents in the draft.
That's insane.
They are
Whitmore was projected 4 or 5.
Exactly.
In a lot of mock drafts, and he went 20th. Rockets and a lot of teams had good drafts. Not even close. The winners of the draft.
Yeah, I think
so too.
Not
even remotely close. They won the draft. 2 top 5 talents.
Yeah, 2.
And they got him in the top 20. They got Cam with the 20th pick. For you non-NBA fans, you don't know how crazy that is. Cam Whitmore, this guy was super highly projected. And I don't know what the fuck happened in his interviews or workouts.
Yeah, they were saying it was a mix of like the interviews and then the physicals came back a little, scary.
Yeah.
So teams were a little nervous, but it's weird that he fell all
What
the
a
way
steal,
there,
man.
It's
What a
crazy.
steal.
Yeah, I love the Rockets pick. And Amen Thompson, let me say, both of the Thompson twins, honestly,
They're gonna be great.
They have this demeanor and professionalism, and
As you said before, yeah.
about the game, and I'm so excited for those two twins. I think both of them are going to come in to spots that are tailor made for them to succeed right away. I think Amen walks into a situation in Houston. They're rebuilding. They're in the middle of a great rebuild right now. Everybody around him is around the same age as him, really, and so he's going to be able to lead. Just as he was in Overtime Elite. I think he's going to be able to have a leading voice in the locker room, come in and lead that team right away, and I think he can kind of stabilize a little of some of the rocky personalities on that team with Kevin Porter Jr. People that like to.
Where does
stir the
Kevin
pot a
Porter
little bit.
Jr. fit into that team at this point?
That's tough, right? Because the Rockets guard rotation now, they got KPJ, they got Amen, they have Jalen Green, and those are all top 3 overall talents, right? I mean, so if you look at those guys and you're like, whose minutes are gonna get clipped? I think right off the bat, Amen coming in probably won't have that big of a role. But as the season progresses, and I think he has a little bit more of the two-way upside that Houston's looking at, especially with Ime Udoka, who is a defensive-minded coach. He's gonna like players that can come in and guard. And I think Amen right off the bat, he has those defensive instincts to make an impact on that end of the floor. So you bring him in a situation like this, and I think it's really good for him. And then same with his brother in Detroit, another young team that he can come into and flourish right away.
Hey, one more thing, the Heat did pass up on Cam Whitmore, but Jamie Jaquez, as you said.
Oh yeah, man.
Jaime
Jaquez.
That's such like a Miami Heat
But
pick.
I love
Go ahead,
that
tell me
pick.
about him.
I love that pick. He has so a lot of, first of all, he plays with energy, and that's what the Heat love, right? They love high octane guys that are just gonna give you their all, guys that just put their body on the line, and that's the type of guy that Jaquez is. But he has this mid-range game about him, man, that kind of has like flashes. I don't want to go as far as say DeMar DeRozan, but he just has
Jimmy Butler?
Yeah, maybe, man. He just mixes it up really well in the mid-range. He gets to his spots. He has a lot of he uses shot fakes really well. He has this balance that he can hang in the air a little bit and release his shot still. So I think he has a really, raw, talented game, and I think he's going to come into Miami again with those guys. They love guys that are just going to, play the right way and play Miami Heat style, hard-nosed basketball. And that's the type of guy they get in Jaime Jaquez, a guy that has multiple years of college experience. He's not a freshman coming in. He's not young. He's going to come in and he's going to play right away. So I love that pick for them. Some more surprise of this draft, Bilal Coulibaly was traded and, he was drafted by the Wizards.
Bilal, remember the name Muhammad? He got drafted?
Yeah, Bilal Coulibaly, Victor Wembanyama's teammate from the Mets 92 French team, was traded on draft night. The Indiana Pacers initially drafted him and traded him one spot back to the Washington Wizards, and they just swapped picks, basically. The Pacers ended up with Jarris Walker. And I really like that gamble for Houston, for Indiana. Yeah, I love that gamble for Indiana. I think you take a shot on somebody like Bilal Coulibaly, who is a raw athletic project, right? He's going to come in and he's going to be a work in progress, but he has the makings of, a lengthy scorer. He loves to get out in the open and run in transition. He has long limbs. He's able to get you to the basket in like 3 steps from the half court. He's very, very elusive and athletic. But I think, for Washington, who's rebuilding at this stage, they just acquired another young piece in Jordan Poole, who's another great piece to start a rebuild with. And now you bring a talented young player like Bilal. I think they're in a good place right now, and they really transitioned mad fast, bro. It was crazy because Bradley Beal is gone, KP is gone, Kyle Kuzma I would predict is gonna be on his way out too. But that's what
blew
they
up
needed.
the entire team,
yeah.
man. But
Hey, shout out our friend Banked, one of our biggest Wizards fan. I know he's excited about this rebuild, and I'm excited too. I think it's
besides the absolute dog shit Bradley Beal trade.
Oh yeah, I mean, but dude, we got to talk about this. Another trade.
Let's talk about Chris Paul.
A few other trades, because I was gonna say John Collins, but yeah, we got to talk.
Well, we
Chris
can
Paul
talk
too.
about John Collins real quick. I mean, speaking of absolutely no return, Rudy Gay, a 2nd round pick. That's just nuts.
It's just crazy,
absolute
man.
horrible trade. But what I feel like the what really stuck out, even with the drafts, is that Chris Paul trade, man.
Yeah.
To the Warriors. Rohan, tell me to wrap this up. How is Chris Paul going to fit into this Warrior system? Being a guy, if you guys don't know, he writes for the Warriors.
Yeah, I do.
Tell me, what do you see from Chris Paul in the Golden State Warriors?
Man, this trade is just it's like it hurts my brain in so many ways because first of all, Jordan Poole was drafted to this team, bro, to be the successor to Stephen Curry, and he's already gone after. And I'm glad he was able to get a title, but he's gone, and it just feels surreal. But Chris Paul, a veteran 38-year-old Chris Paul, is about to join the Warriors. It just doesn't even make sense, bro. He's had beef with this team, it feels like, throughout his entire career, and now he's joining them. But I think the fit may surprise people a little bit. I think, he's
going to come off the bench, right? Yes.
I could see him coming off the bench.
He's gonna.
But I could also
you think he's going to start?
Okay, so
what?
no, I think he's going to come off the bench. My prediction would be yes, he's going to come off the bench. But I could also see Golden State, depending on the matchup, maybe in the playoffs, throw out a lineup with Draymond Green at center and Chris Paul at point guard.
And Curry at the 2?
Stephen Curry can play off the ball. I mean, that's what he does. He's an off-ball, assassin. That's all he's doing off the ball is moving around, getting to his spots and creating chaos. And I think that's the excitement factor with this trade.
Imagine, I didn't even think about that.
Yeah,
Chris Paul,
the initiator, bro, the floor general,
the best floor general, one of the best of all
he's
time.
He's the point guard, bro. Point guard.
with Curry, Clay running around, Draymond. Oh, bro, I didn't even think this could be insane.
So this is what I'm thinking about, right? So, and Steve Kerr alluded to this when they asked him, after the trade for his thoughts. The Golden State Warriors now have two separate dynamics, really, offensively. They have their, crazy, chaotic motion offense with the back screens and the, high pick and rolls and then the post splits, all that stuff, the off-ball movement. That's who the Warriors are. And they still are going to have that. They have Curry. They have Clay at the peak of their powers. They're still doing their thing. Draymond, if he comes back, which he likely will, that's still going to be what they are. But now they have the option to bring Chris Paul and settle things down. Just settle things down, have Chris Paul run his style of offense, which is very methodical, very slow. He likes to get the center, come set the screen, let me draw the defense over here and then swing it this way. He loves, a little systematic offense. And I think that's just going to be another way for the Warriors to attack teams. Steve Kerr said against the Lakers, they didn't have ways to attack them. They were just running pick and rolls with Steph Curry as the ball handler repeatedly, and it didn't work because the Lakers would just counter it because that was the only thing they were doing. Now they have another look to give defenses with Chris Paul in the fold. So I think it's going to be a good little
I'm super.
harmony.
Thank you for breaking that down, man. I didn't even have that unlocked.
Exactly.
I'm really looking forward to this Warriors team now.
Sir.
It didn't make sense at first, but now it does.
And I don't think they're done. Let me just say that. I think Kuminga could still get traded, and I think they still got a bit of work to do to fill out the roster. But it's a cool trade for sure.
Yeah, for sure.
Yeah.
Well, I guess that'll do it for now, folks. Talk some UFC, talk some basketball, talk the draft.
Yes, sir.
Next podcast is gonna be great as well. A lot to break down when it comes to UFC 290. We don't know how this main event between Abus and Strickland, such a weird main event, but exciting as well. Yeah. We're gonna break that one down, see how it went. Looking forward to it. Guys, thank you so much for tuning in. Episode 10, the record-breaking episode.
Finally, we
got
there.
Let's go, baby. Signing off, Lucas Rohan. Peace.